Hi, welcome to Dog Fanatic. And today we're going to be talking about dropping dogs off at grooming facilities. The one thing I want to go over fairly quickly, and I actually have seen this happen, is what not to do when dropping your dog off at a groomer's, whether it be a one-on-one groomer, private groomers, or corporate groomers, whichever situation, never do this. Okay, and I have seen this happen several times in corporate grooming and also once at a large private groomer, which there were so many groomers there that it may as well have been their own sort of little corporate, although it was considered private. When there are so many groomers there, a lot goes on, and it's not the best ideal situation, but people sometimes just don't know any better, so they bring them to places where there's tons of groomers. Because I guess they just accept it. So it's better to get more for your dog because you should be proactive for your dog. Anyway, the one most important thing not to do when dropping your dog off at any groomers, and I've seen this happen probably 4 times, and each time it has been in a corporate setting. Okay, so when bringing your dog in, and it's usually in corporate because there's usually a huge desk and there's a waiting area that is separate from grooming. And so people can kind of hide over there sometimes. And they literally sit on the floor with their dog crawled in their lap and they hug each other and the owner starts crying, terrified, scared to death. Now, if you do this to your dog, you have to put yourself in your dog's place. If you love your dog, always put yourself in your dog's place. Am I doing the best thing for my dog at this moment in time? So if you're sitting there crying and shaking uncontrollably and acting like you will never see your dog again, how is your dog going to feel? Your dog is going to respond to that, whether it be a Chihuahua, whether it be a collie, a golden retriever, a Great Dane, a Rottweiler. It could be a Belgian Malinois. It could be a Commodore. It could be a Newfoundland, a Saint Bernard, a terrier, an Airedale, a Cairn Terrier. It could be a mix. It could be a Golden Doodle. If you're acting like that, if you're crying uncontrollably, sobbing, scared to death, how do you think your dog is going to feel? I'll let you know. Your dog is going to feel like it is being sent to get its head chopped off in one of those old fashioned guillotines because that's what you're acting like. When you act like that, or when a person acts like that, it scares your dog to death because your dog thinks, obviously, it will never see you again, that something traumatizing is about to happen, and he doesn't want to go away from you because he's scared because you're scared. They are like megaphones. They amplify our feelings, who they are bonded to, in an extreme manner. And when you act like that, when a human being acts like that, that the dog needs to trust, and that's where he gets all his security from, the dog is going to have a difficult time at the groomer. He's not going to want to go back there. He's going to be scared to go back there because he thinks that he's going to either, he doesn't know the terminology for it, but be put down, whether it be get his head chopped off or just never see you again. And that's what people are doing to their dogs, usually in corporate settings. I have never seen it in mine. I've had questions asked, but I've never, ever, ever had anybody behave like that in my own shop because I discuss everything. Okay, so that's what not to do when you're dropping your dog off at your groomers. Please don't ever do that. Okay, so I'm going to go over a few things with grooming. At first, I'm going to go over what is the best grooming situation for your dog. So is the best situation, yes, and I do it this way, one-on-one grooming is the ideal situation. And there are many one-on-one groomers. There are one-on-one groomers that have dogs in kennels. There are one-on-one groomers that have one dog family at a time is the way I do it. That's the most ideal situation. That way no other dog comes in. No dog is stressed out because there's no dogs in kennels. They get to hang out with each other. A lot of times when I'm working with one dog, it's not unusual to find his brother or his sister sitting behind him on the grooming table because they're close and they want to be close. So if they want to do that, I have no problem with that. As long as I can continue grooming, I don't have a problem. When it's time to put both dogs down, the one that I'm not working on gets down first. And all I've got to do basically is look at them when that time comes and say, okay, you need to get off the table, and they jump down. They know what is what, and they're smarter than what people think they are. Okay, so the next situation that would be better for grooming is private grooming, whether you have one or two groomers. Usually or a bather. These kind of situations, it is best for a dog when they're being bathed and groomed for the one person, the groomer, to do it all, because during the bathing process, the drying process, that's how your groomer bonds with your dog. Because if your dog is scared, it's up to us to calm your dog down. If there's a bather grooming your dog, a lot of times they're not educated as far as how to calm a dog down, how to get a dog to stop jumping and being scared. They don't know. Some groomers don't know. They get older, more seasoned, however you want to word it, they understand that. There are some people, the best groomers I think that are out there are the ones that specialize in behavior. That way, all dogs leave happy. All owners leave happy. And that's what I do. I do one-on-one grooming, and my grooming is fine. Everybody's extremely happy with it. And so my goal for every single dog that comes into me is for every dog and every owner to be happy. And it happens. It does happen. I have a very good success rate with that. So private would be the next one. Bather, sometimes they have a bather come because they've got too many dogs. Honestly, if you book the right way, it's better to have the groomer do all of it, because that's, it's their work, it's their job, and that way they're responsible for whatever. And they can let you know everything that has been going on with your dog while it has been at the groomers. I go over every groom with every person that comes in, and I talk about little issues they have, things that they have to be worked with, how they were, if there's been any changes since the last time. I don't know why. I groom a lot of dogs, but I know every dog, and the last visit he came to the next one, to the first one. I remember it. As far as dogs go, people not so much, but dogs, I've got it down pat. So the one place that is not probably the best, and it's not their fault, a lot of people don't know anything about dogs, is corporate places and or large private places. And the reason why I say that it's probably not the best place to bring your dog is because people that own the building don't want the groomers to be too intelligent. They don't want them knowing things, asking questions, finding out answers. They kind of want to keep them, with corporate, I call it stupefied, because they just want them functioning, function, the groomers, and shut up, no questions asked, don't stir the boat, don't rock the boat, don't cause issues, don't cause problems, leave things alone. This is the way we do things, and that's just the way it is. And if you don't fit in that mold, you end up leaving if you're intelligent. And in time, everybody does leave because they can't keep their people, because they don't treat them well, because they don't care about the dogs. There's a lot of incidences that go around at corporate. Dogs are all put in a lot of kennels. There's nobody out there to attend them in kennels. They get pawing at the kennels if they don't want to be there. If they're anxious, they rip their nails out. They chew on the kennel bars where they bloody up their teeth and their gums. Sometimes they lose their teeth. There's many vet visits. They also have these posters on the walls, and you can ask for a tour through anytime. And they have dogs in a poster on the wall at all the corporate places and a lot of private places about dogs that are not allowed to be kennel dried. And the reason why is because those are the dogs that have died from kennel drying. And it's not just about kennel drying, it's a lot more into it. It's stress, and they also have signs of stress poster out there as well. And you are more than welcome to ask, I want a tour of the Outback. And if they have those things, if they have to be told what to do and what not to do you really want to bring your dog there? Because that's just common sense. If a dog is stressed, you want to groom it, get it out, and have it not stressed. And sometimes that includes not ever using a velocity dryer, and all corporate is what they use for drying dogs is velocity dryers. Anyway, I will continue with that. So when you are dropping off a dog at a groomer, you can, how do you find a groomer? When you're looking for a groomer, you go on, online because that's what everybody does nowadays. But when you're looking for a groomer, you check the ratings and you read the reviews and then go on to those specific Facebook pages. And the reason why with the Facebook pages is because you will see the talking communication, the talking back and forth between the customers that the groomer has and the groomer. And you should see a relationship between the groomer and their customer. And if there are questions from the outside as far as pricing, a lot of times what I do with that, because every dog is individual, you can't give a price outright because Shih Tzus are many different sizes, weights, coats, all kinds of different things. So they're all different prices with every dog. Golden Doodles are all different sizes. Somebody might say they're the one weight, they come in, they're 50 pounds heavier. We cannot give a price. Prices are very sticky. So we don't give a price because I once gave a price of a tiny little dog of $180, who I thought was a giant Old English sheepdog. Pictures don't always tell us what we see. So, yeah, we don't give, it's best not to give prices, and hopefully you can understand that. You can ask for a range in prices for a breed that is more acceptable because sometimes there are very petite ones and sometimes there are very gigantic dogs in every breed. And so that is why we can give a range, but we do not like to give a price because we don't want to be stuck with that. And situations happen, temperaments happen, just a lot of different things go into it. Anyway, so you can go online, check the Facebook pages, go in depth, look if there's videos, look if there's fun videos, look if there's really cute pictures. How much are they putting into grooming? Do they really want to show off what they're doing? Are they enjoying what they're doing? Do the customers enjoy what they're doing? Do the customers give them any credit for how they're handling dogs? I mean, you will see this, you will read it, and you will pick up on it. And then veterinarians, go talk to veterinarians. A lot of times, some veterinarians might not even know that there is a groomer around because that groomer does not send their dog into grooming places for nicks and cuts and stitches and falls off tables because they're a responsible groomer. That's the groomer you might want to have. If a veterinarian is seeing a groomer, a dog that goes to this salon and they pay for it, great. But are dogs coming in all the time that fall off the tables because they're not watching their dogs? They don't have a hand on them. Are they getting cut all the time? Are they getting stitches all the time? How many people are working there? I mean, are they being responsible? Are the dogs scared? What is going on? So talk to your veterinarian as well. How transparent is the groomer? That's another very good question that you can ask if you're looking for a groomer. Are you allowed to stay? Why are you not allowed to stay? Are there rules when you stay? Are there other dogs? Are there kennels? Are there no kennels? Is there barking? Is there yelping? Is there yelling from human beings of any kind in the other room? Any of this is stress. That's why I also suggest one-on-one grooming. Corporate, that's all common, all of that, because they just don't know. They don't realize they're young, they're new, and corporate doesn't educate people as far as behavior. And the best groomer is one who specializes in behavior. So bad behavior doesn't happen because we can cut it off quickly and we can redirect the dog into being happy rather than upset and play with the dog a little bit as they're grooming. All these pictures on here are of dogs that I have groomed and they all belong to me and I have permission to use them from my customers. Anyway, so how is the dog behaving? Is when your dog is in, do you feel welcome when you walk through the door? How do you feel? When you walk through the door, are you nervous? Are you on edge? Are you cautious? How's your dog acting? Is your dog trying to pull you out of the room? Is your dog like can't wait to get back home? What's going on with your dog? Just watch your dog, watch its reactions, watch the groomer. Watch what the groomer does. Does the groomer walk right over to the dog, put their hands on the dog as soon as the dog walks through the room? What's wrong with that situation? Now that's a corporate thing and they insist that they do that. But think about it. Put yourself in your dog's place or put yourself in a dog's place. Put yourself in a dog that's scared his place. So if you're scared, you're a dog, and then this person comes over, you never met this person before, and your mama's right there and you're a male dog and your job in your head is to take care of your mom, and all of a sudden this strange person comes over to you and puts hands on head and then starts touching you, what would you do? Fight or flight, animal instinct, whether you're human, dog, cat, horse, goat, whatever. If some stranger is going to come over to you, you are going to feel nervous, you are going to feel scared, and you're going to protect your mama, because if they're going after you, what are they going to do to your mama? So you need to not allow people to put their hands on your dog as you walk through the door. You can chit chat for a little bit, which is good. What I always do is I walk over as soon as the customer is in, and I explain to the customer, because I don't want them feeling freaked out when I do this, is I lock the door, and the reason why, so that way when I ask them to please take your dog off the leash, and then I lock the door, and I say the reason I'm locking the door is not to molest you or anything, but so that nobody can open the door. I do have a double door system, always have, always will. But so that door is locked so nobody can open the door and your dog can't get out in the road and terrible things happen. So, so anyway, that way your dog is safe. So okay, so then what? And you don't allow anybody ever to put hands directly on your dog. It's not a smart move, not a good, intelligent move. The dog person's going to get bitten. I've seen it happen time and time and time again, actually always at corporate. I have not ever had that happen here, because what I do is when somebody comes in, I'm sitting down, because that way I'm not threatening. I'm not threatening to the human being walking through the door, and I'm not threatening to the dog. A seated position is a good place to be. And as soon as they're both in for a little bit and then they move away from the door, that's when I get up and walk over to the door and lock it. And then I ask her or him, you can take your leash off and just let your dog poke around, let him smell, let him check things out. I open up the gate so the dog can go out back, and we both sit down and we're talking. And as we're talking, of course, we both have eyes on the dog, because we just watch to see what the dog is doing. And as soon as the dog walks out back, and it always does, I tell the owner, okay, I'm glad. Okay, so your dog is walking away from you. He's checking everything out. So that's a good sign. It means that he's very confident. Now we can talk about what you want for grooming. And then we get to work doing that. And that's when I notice mom or dad, we're making eye contact, we're talking back and forth. And then occasionally they might look at their dog, but they're relaxing. The people that I'm going to have to be more cautious with are the ones that have their eyes glued on their dog, and they're really nervous about the dog. And I explain this is a very dog-friendly atmosphere. There is absolutely nothing that your dog can get into, and if he brings something out, I can always take it away. So let's relax and talk, and get to know each other a little bit, find out what you like, what you don't like, and we'll just go from there. And they are relieved. And it's a calm time. It's not, they're not standing there with their dog on a leash and in the corner, and the dog's not growling, biting, uncomfortable. But the owner is seated down. The dog comes back, checks on mom or dad, then goes back out, then comes over and checks on me. I don't go to the dog when they first come in. Very rarely will I do that. When the dog is comfortable after he checks on mom a lot of times, or dad, then he will come over to me. And that's the way it should be done, because he's almost asking, when he goes to mom or dad, what he or she is doing is asking permission to go see me. And when they're relaxed and they pat their dog and they give him a couple, little taps on the butt, that's the time where the parents give permission. That's their way of giving permission for a dog to come and greet me. And that's when they come over and, I'll stretch my hand out. I don't pat them. I just put my hand out and then they'll walk up and smell. And then I kind of pat their chest. I don't go over their head because a lot of dogs are scared because dogs have all kinds of pasts. And if you put your hand directly over their head, which you are taught to do at some places, it can grab your arm and bite you. So I always go to the chest because that way he can see what's going on. And I pat under their chest. And that's one of their favorite places to be patted. Why? Because they can't reach it and it feels good. So I do know that. So anyway, so that is basically the most important thing as far as when you're starting to meet a groomer and you're looking for somebody. If you have any questions, it's the time to do it right then and there. A lot of times pricing cannot be given out until afterwards. And the reason why is because it all depends on temperament. And with me, I do behavioral training, and basically I work with every single dog that comes in, and most of them are scared. They've been traumatized in their past, and they just want to get out. They want to leave quickly, and sometimes it's just not fast enough for them. So I work with them to calm them down. And then when I'm done with grooming, that's the time where I call mom or dad. And then I always put in a playtime before they get picked up because it's important for every single dog to be played with and be happy when they go. The problem with not giving a few minutes of play is the dog is a little stressed. And if you take a dog, okay, so if you're in corporate or you have a bunch of kennels, which is the way a lot of groomers are taught to groom is just take them out of a kennel, put them back in a kennel. Well, a kennel is stressful. You've got a lot of dogs barking, whatever. And then occasionally a dog will yip because a groomer might not know about arthritis or they might not even think that far ahead. If the dog has any kind of, they're lame some days, we get lame some days. They don't take into consideration builds because a lot of times like basset hounds, shih tzus have the legs they almost form a heart in front of their chest. And if a groomer or a bather or whatever, a younger, more inexperienced person takes one of those legs that are formed like that and pull it out to the side, that hurts. That hurts a lot. And I've gone over a few minutes ago, there's a fight or flight situation. And if it hurts bad enough, they're going to bite. And that's how biting starts, that and with cataracts as well. So you want to talk to a groomer and make sure that they understand arthritis, confirmation, being aware of where the dog can put their legs. Because with the dog, when the legs are formed like into kind of a heart where they knuckle in front, you can still cut nails, you can do the pads, you can do all that. And the way that you do that is not to pull the legs out to the side, which kills their legs because they're just not built that way. But you can pull them forward because that's a normal walking step. And you do it in that range of motion as they are walking. You don't put it too high. You don't put it out of range. You put the foot exactly where it falls naturally. If you are willing to let the dog's body parts remain where they're supposed to be in a natural state as a dog is comfortable, the dog is going to love you. And, it doesn't take that much to figure it out. The groomers that just get mad instead, if a dog pulls their leg away a little bit or their foot away, the reason why they do that is because something is not comfortable. So they tug. And I've seen this happen. A lot of groomers will tug back, but they do it more forcefully, and then the dog will pull again. So then the groomer will take the dog, especially if it's a little dog, and kind of clamp it to the groomer's body as it's doing nails and force the leg in a position where it really hurts. So then the dog is biting a lot and hard and trying to struggle to get out. So the groomer then is getting scratched, it's getting clawed. It's not happy. It's scared to death. And the owner, the dog doesn't understand what's going on, can't get away, so it bites. So there's a reason that dogs bite. If a dog bites, it's because they feel trapped, they feel cornered, and they cannot get away, because any animal's first choice is to run or just get away. But if you take a second, if a groomer takes a second and try to figure out exactly what's going on with that dog, and the groomer doesn't need to be told, you can see pain. You can see if something hurts. And I've always done this my whole entire life. I can feel it. I can feel I can feel when a dog is uncomfortable. If a dog is hesitant, he's uncomfortable, he or she. So just a groomer, you have to find a groomer that isn't all about ego and about themselves and that they did this dog and they did how many dogs or whatever. But you want your dog going to somebody who will take care of your dog and that you can trust with your dog, because there are groomers that get mad and short tempered and angry when a dog isn't pristine and perfect. But you know what? All dogs can get to that point in being. And when a groomer is done, when mom or dad come back to pick up, or if they have decided to stay in my shop, it's I get people staying quite often, and they're amazed how well their dogs behave for me. And we chit chat back and forth. There's only the two rules. One is no making eye contact with your dog unless he's blind, then I don't mind. And the other is just you can't talk to him, don't correct him, because I'm doing that, and that's how I build a bond with your dog. So just if you can be conscientious of those two things. I've only had to ask one person to leave because she couldn't stop talking to her dog, and she won't be able to stay the next time that she comes in either. But I'm sorry, but that's just for the well-being, safety of the dog. Those two rules have got to be followed. And if those two rules are followed, the dog is calm because he knows that you're there, and he will test you. He will test the parents because there's going to be a lot of whining and he's going to be looking at you. But it's kind of comical, really, to be on my side when I know that what he's doing, that he's testing the owner. And it's just funny to see the interaction, even though the owner isn't making the eye contact. We are still talking, so she just kind of laughs, or he, and it's just they act like a little kid, and they're just trying to get, all they want is the eye contact. And I said, you cannot do the eye contact. It's the one thing you cannot do. And you cannot speak to them directly. So they talk to me through this. It's like therapy in a way. It's kind of funny. But after a couple of visits, the dogs just calm down and they know that their mom or dad are going to be there, and that's that. But the first couple of visits is just kind of comical about how the dogs are working with their parents and really trying to manipulate them to get them just to look at them. And for some reason, it's extremely important on their end. The relationship between dogs and people are just a riot. And then the other thing too is while I'm grooming, a lot of the owners stay. And if they have anything in their head, I said, while we're here, I'm going to be here a little while. If you can think of anything, any kind of issues you're having at home, I can work with you and tell you how to work through it while I've got him on the table here, because I'm going to be here, you're going to be here. We may as well take advantage of the situation. So, we talk a lot about that as well. And they enjoy it, the owners. They enjoy seeing their dog changing and how he responds, and that, in time that he does such a better job. And it all starts from being a baby puppy up until an old man, and they all like to test their owners. Anyway, thank you for joining Dog Fanatic. And this is Penny McKinney, your host. I think I forgot to say it in the beginning, but I thank you for joining for this episode and how to choose a groomer and make the best of it and make the best possible decision that you could make. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you have any questions or what would like me to go over any kind of a situation that you may know about, heard of, any health issues, any grooming situation, any training situation, please feel free to mention it in comments, and I will make sure that I can cover it. All right. Well, thank you, and have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.